Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. I wake to the sound of rhythmic beeping, like a mechanical heartbeat, steady and unwavering. My eyelids feel heavy, as though weights are tied to them, but slowly, I force them open. The world around me is a blur of white and gray, antiseptic and cold. Hospital room. I try to move, but my muscles are sluggish, uncooperative. My throat is dry, and I can't remember the last time I had a drink of water. There's a faint pressure on my hand, warm and familiar, and I turn my head slowly to see my twin brother, Ethan, sitting beside me. His face is a mix of relief and something else I can't quite place. Guilt, maybe? His eyes are red-rimmed, as though he hasn't slept in days. Or maybe weeks. "Hey," he says, his voice cracking. "Welcome back." I try to speak, but only a rasp escapes my lips. Panic flares briefly. I can't remember what happened, why I'm here, why everything feels so disjointed. Ethan leans closer, his grip on my hand tightening. "You've been in a coma, Matt. For almost a year." A year? The words echo in my mind, absurd, impossible. My heart races as I struggle to comprehend. How could I have lost an entire year of my life? What happened? I finally managed to croak out, my voice barely above a whisper. "There was an accident," Ethan explains, his voice steady, but I can see the tremor in his hands. "A car crash. You were driving. It was pretty bad, Matt. The doctors didn't know if you were going to make it." I blink, trying to summon any memory of the accident, but there's nothing. Just a black void where that part of my life should be. I let out a shuddering breath, feeling like a stranger in my own skin. "Where's Emma?" I ask, my thoughts immediately turning to my wife. The memory of her face is still vivid in my mind, her bright smile, the way her eyes crinkled at the corners when she laughed. Surely she would be here, by my side. Ethan's expression changes, a flicker of something dark crossing his features before he quickly masks it. "She's not here," he says, carefully choosing his words. "She's been going through a lot, too. It's been hard on her." Something in his tone puts me on edge. I narrow my eyes, forcing myself to sit up despite the stiffness in my limbs. "Where is she, Ethan? I need to see her." He hesitates, glancing away, and that's when I know something is wrong. Very wrong. "I'll call her," he finally says, standing up too quickly, like he needs to escape. "You need to rest. Just, give me a minute." I watch him leave the room, my mind racing. Ethan has always been a terrible liar. Growing up, I could always tell when he was hiding something. Now, that same sense of dread coils in my gut, tightening with every passing second. I wait, but time feels like it's dragging. Minutes stretch into what feels like hours before the door opens again. This time, it's not Ethan, but my best friend, Jake. He walks in with that easy confidence I've always envied, but there's a tension in his jaw, a guarded look in his eyes. "Jake," I say, feeling a rush of relief at seeing a familiar face. "What's going on? Where's Emma?" Jake sighs, running a hand through his hair as he pulls up a chair next to my bed. "Matt, there's something you need to know. It's not easy to hear, but you deserve to know the truth." A cold shiver runs down my spine. "Just tell me." He takes a deep breath, as if steeling himself. "After the accident, things changed. A lot. Emma, she wasn't coping well. She was grieving, thinking she'd lost you. And Ethan, well, he was there for her." The way he says it, the careful choice of words, it all clicks into place in a sickening instant. My stomach churns as the implication becomes clear. "What are you saying, Jake?" "I'm saying," he says slowly, meeting my eyes with a pained expression, that Emma and Ethan, they got together. They're a couple now. It feels like the air has been sucked out of the room. My heart pounds in my chest, each beat sending a wave of nausea through me. I want to shout, to scream that it's not true, but the look on Jake's face tells me everything I need to know. What? My voice is barely audible, as if saying it louder would make it more real. Jake nods, his expression grim. I know it's messed up, man. But you were gone, and they found comfort in each other. It started off innocent enough, I guess. But then it became more. My mind is spinning, a whirlwind of anger, betrayal, and disbelief. How could she? How could my own brother do this to me? The two people I trusted most in the world, together, while I was lying here, trapped in some kind of living death. Does she know I'm awake? I ask, my voice hardening. She knows, Jake says. But she didn't come. I think she's scared. She knows what this means. I don't respond, my thoughts a chaotic storm. I feel like I'm being pulled under, drowning in a sea of emotions that I can't even begin to process. My hands clench into fists, the sheets bunching under my grip. There's a tightness in my chest, a rage that's slowly bubbling to the surface. Jake watches me carefully, his eyes full of concern. Matt, whatever you're thinking, just be careful. This whole situation is a mess, and I don't want to see you hurt more than you already have been. I meet his gaze, the storm inside me barely contained. I'm going to make them pay for this, Jake. Both of them. He looks at me, and for a moment, I see a flash of something like fear in his eyes. But then he nods, as if he understands. Just, don't do anything rash. Let's figure this out together, okay? I nod, but the decision is already made. I can feel it solidifying inside me, a dark resolve that I've never felt before. My life was taken from me, and now, I'm going to take it back. I will make them pay. The door opens again, and this time, it's Ethan, his face pale, his eyes wide. Matt, she's here, he says, his voice shaking. I don't move, my eyes locking onto his. There's so much I want to say, so much I want to do, but I know I need to keep it together. Not yet. Not here. Send her in, I say coldly, my voice a sharp contrast to the chaos raging inside me. Ethan hesitates, but he nods and steps out of the room. A moment later, Emma walks in, and the sight of her takes my breath away, though not in the way it used to. Her eyes are puffy, her face pale, and there's a look of guilt that she can't hide. Matt, she whispers, her voice trembling. I stare at her, taking in every detail, every nuance of her expression. Once, she was my whole world. Now, she's the woman who betrayed me with my own brother. Hello, Emma, I say, my tone icy. Her eyes fill with tears, and she takes a step towards me. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I hold up a hand, stopping her. Don't. Just don't. She freezes, her lip quivering, and I can see the fear in her eyes. She knows what's coming, just like I do. This isn't over, I say, my voice low and dangerous. Not by a long shot. Emma nods, her tears spilling over, and I can see the weight of what she's done crushing her. But I don't feel pity. I don't feel anything but a burning need for revenge. The room falls silent, the tension thick in the air, and I know that this is only the beginning. The real battle has just begun. I sit in the hospital bed, staring at the sterile white walls, feeling the coldness of the room seep into my bones. The tension from my brief encounter with Emma lingers, thick and suffocating. My mind is racing, replaying every word, every nuance of her expression. She looked broken, guilty, and yet I can't find it in myself to feel sorry for her. Not after what she's done. The door creaks open, and Jake steps in again, followed by a woman I don't recognize. She's tall, with dark hair pulled back into a tight ponytail, her expression serious. She's wearing a smart suit, the kind you'd expect on a lawyer or a private investigator. "Matt," Jake says, his voice cautious. "This is Sarah Donovan. She's here to help." "Help with what?" I ask, my eyes narrowing as I look between the two of them. Sarah steps forward, extending a hand. Her grip is firm, her eyes sharp and calculating. "Mr. Bennett, I'm a private investigator. Jake contacted me when he found out what happened. He thought you might need some assistance in getting to the bottom of things." I glance at Jake, surprised by his foresight, then back at Sarah. "What do you mean, getting to the bottom of things?" "I already know what happened." Sarah pulls up a chair and sits down, placing a small notepad on her lap. "You know part of it. But situations like these are rarely as simple as they seem. People make decisions for all sorts of reasons, some of them obvious, some of them not. I'm here to help you uncover the truth, all of it, so you can decide your next steps with a clear head." My jaw tightens. I don't know if I need a private investigator, but there's something about her calm demeanor that puts me at ease, even if only slightly. "And what do you expect to find?" She leans back slightly, her gaze steady. "That depends. What are you hoping to find?" The question catches me off guard. I've been so focused on my anger and betrayal that I haven't considered what I really want out of this. Do I want evidence to confront them? Proof to use against them? Or something else entirely? "I want to know why," I finally say, my voice low and strained. "I want to know how the two people I trusted most could do this to me." Sarah nods, as if she's heard this before, as if she understands. "I can do that. But you need to be prepared for what we might uncover. It could be more complicated than you expect." I nod, though my mind is still reeling. "Where do we start?" "First," she says, pulling a pen from her jacket pocket, "I'll need access to any communication between your wife and your brother. Texts, emails, anything you can give me. Do you have access to their devices?" "I don't," I admit, feeling a pang of frustration. "But I'm sure I can figure something out." Jake steps in, a concerned look on his face. "I can help with that. I've got some tech skills, and I'm sure we can find a way to get what Sarah needs." "Good," Sarah says, her tone brisk and businesslike. "We'll also need to track their movements over the past year, see if there are any patterns, places they went together, that sort of thing." My head feels like it's spinning, the reality of what I'm about to do hitting me all at once. I'm about to pry into the lives of the people I once loved, to dig up their secrets and use them as weapons. It's a dark, twisted feeling, but I can't deny the small spark of satisfaction that comes with it. "I'll do whatever it takes," I say, my voice firm with resolve. Sarah gives a small nod, as if she expected nothing less. "I'll get started on my end, but I'll need you to stay in touch. Keep me updated on anything new you find out." Of course, I agree, the gravity of the situation settling over me. Jake moves closer, placing a reassuring hand on my shoulder. "We'll get through this, Matt. We'll figure it out." I force a smile, but inside, I'm a maelstrom of emotions. Anger, pain, betrayal, it's all there, mixing with a deep sadness I'm not sure I'll ever shake. As Sarah gets up to leave, Jake follows her out, pausing at the door to give me a final, supportive nod. "I'll be back later, okay? Try to get some rest." Rest. The word feels foreign, impossible. I nod anyway, knowing that sleep won't come easily, not with everything that's racing through my mind. The room feels even colder and more sterile once they're gone. I lie back on the bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to piece together the fragmented memories of my life before the accident. I keep coming back to the same thought: how did everything go so wrong? Hours pass, maybe more, and the steady beeping of the machines becomes background noise, a constant reminder that I'm still tethered to this world, to this reality. I'm startled out of my thoughts by the sound of the door opening again. This time, it's Ethan. He stands awkwardly in the doorway, his hands shoved into his pockets, his eyes downcast. He looks like a man who knows he's about to walk into a minefield. "Matt," he starts, his voice tentative. "Can we talk?" I want to tell him to get the hell out, that I have nothing to say to him, but there's a part of me that needs to hear him out, needs to understand why he did what he did. "Talk," I say, my voice flat. Ethan steps inside, closing the door behind him. He stands at the foot of my bed, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else but here. "I know you're angry, and you have every right to be. I messed up. Big time." "That's putting it mildly," I say, my anger simmering just below the surface. He flinches, but he doesn't back down. "It wasn't supposed to happen, Matt. None of it. When you were in the accident, we all thought you weren't going to make it. Emma was devastated. I was devastated. And one thing led to another." I sit up, the anger boiling over now. One thing led to another. "Are you seriously trying to justify this?" "No, I'm not," he says quickly, holding up his hands as if to ward off my fury. "I'm not justifying it. I'm just trying to explain. It was a mistake, a horrible mistake. But we were both in a really bad place. And that makes it okay." I snap, my hands clenching into fists. "You didn't just sleep with some random woman, Ethan. You slept with my wife. You betrayed me." "I know," he says, his voice cracking with emotion. "I know I did, and I hate myself for it. But you have to understand, we were both grieving, both lost. It wasn't about you. It was about trying to hold on to something, anything." I shake my head, unable to believe what I'm hearing. "And what about now? Now that I'm back? Are you still together?" Ethan's silence is deafening. He doesn't need to say anything, his downcast eyes tell me everything I need to know. I feel a cold, sharp pain in my chest, like a knife twisting deeper with each passing second. "So, what's your plan now? To keep seeing her behind my back? Or are you planning to leave her, now that I'm awake?" Ethan looks up at me, his eyes filled with guilt and shame. "I don't know, Matt. I don't know what to do. I never expected you to wake up. I never wanted to hurt you." "Well, you did," I say, my voice trembling with a mix of fury and despair. "You both did. And now, I have to live with that." He takes a step closer, his expression desperate. "I'm sorry, Matt. I wish I could take it all back, but I can't. All I can do is ask for your forgiveness." "Forgiveness?" I laugh bitterly, shaking my head. "I don't know if I can ever forgive you, Ethan. Not for this." Ethan's shoulders slump, and he looks like a man who's just lost everything. "I understand. But please, don't push everyone away. You're going to need people around you, people who care about you." "Funny," I say, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "You think you care about me?" "I do," he says, his voice filled with earnestness. "You're my brother. That hasn't changed. But everything else has," I reply coldly. Ethan nods, his face a mask of regret. He turns to leave, pausing at the door. "If you ever want to talk, I'll be here." I don't respond, and he slips out of the room, leaving me alone with my thoughts once again. The silence is oppressive, and I feel the weight of what's just happened pressing down on me. I pick up the phone beside my bed, dialing Jake's number. He answers on the first ring. "I need you to do something for me," I say, my voice firm. "Anything, Jake replies, his voice steady. Get me everything you can on Ethan and Emma. I want to know where they've been, who they've talked to. Everything. You got it, Jake says without hesitation. I'll get started right away. I hang up, a cold resolve settling over me. The path ahead is uncertain, but one thing is clear: I won't let this betrayal go unanswered. The war has begun, and I'm ready to fight. The next morning, I wake up with a sharp clarity, a focus that I haven't felt since before the accident. The events of yesterday replay in my mind, but instead of anger clouding my thoughts, there's a cold, calculated determination. If I'm going to do this, I need to be smart about it. I get dressed, ignoring the stiffness in my limbs. The hospital discharged me with strict instructions to take it easy, but I can't afford to wait. There's too much at stake. I grab my phone and call Jake, who picks up after the first ring. Matt, he says, his voice tinged with concern. How are you holding up? I'm fine, I reply, though we both know that's a lie. Did you get anything on Ethan and Emma? Yeah, I did some digging, Jake says, his tone shifting to something more serious. It's not good, Matt. They've been seeing each other regularly, even before the accident. I found some texts and emails, nothing explicit, but enough to show that there was something going on before everything went to hell. My grip tightens on the phone. Before the accident. Are you saying this started before I was even out of the picture? Looks that way, Jake says, the reluctance in his voice clear. I'm sorry, man. I know this isn't what you wanted to hear. A cold fury washes over me. Not only had they betrayed me while I was unconscious, but this had been happening right under my nose. I should have seen it, should have known. Send me everything, I say, my voice hard. I want to see it all. Are you sure? Jake asks, hesitating. It's not going to be easy to look at. I'm sure, I reply, my tone leaving no room for argument. I need to see it. And I need you to keep digging. Find out if there's anything else I need to know. Okay, Jake says after a moment. I'll send you the files. Just, don't do anything rash, alright? I'm with you, but I don't want to see you destroy yourself over this. Don't worry, I say, though I'm not sure if I'm trying to convince him or myself. I've got this under control. I hang up and wait for the files to come through. When my phone buzzes, I open the email and start scrolling through the messages Jake found. There are dozens of them, all carefully extracted from Ethan's and Emma's accounts. Most of the texts are innocent enough, simple check-ins, updates on my condition, words of comfort and support. But then, the tone shifts. There are more personal messages, late-night texts filled with shared memories, inside jokes that I'm no longer a part of. And then, the photos. A few candid shots of them together, taken at times when I was still very much alive, still very much present in their lives. The anger I felt earlier is nothing compared to the rage that burns through me now. They were together, building a relationship behind my back, all while pretending to be there for me. It's sickening. I take a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. I can't afford to lose control, not now. There's too much at stake. My phone buzzes again, this time with a call from Sarah. I answer it, my voice steady. What do you have? Matt, I've been following up on some leads, she says, her tone brisk and professional. I found something you'll want to see. Can you meet me at the cafe on Maple Street in an hour? Yeah, I'll be there, I say, already grabbing my keys. Good, she replies. And Matt? Be prepared. This might change things. I hang up, the weight of her words settling over me. What could she have found that would change things? I push the thought aside and focus on the task at hand. I can't afford to get distracted by speculation. The cafe on Maple Street is a small, cozy place with warm lighting and the smell of freshly brewed coffee filling the air. I walk in, scanning the room until I see Sarah sitting at a table near the back. She's dressed in the same sharp suit as before, her expression unreadable. "Thanks for coming," she says as I sit down across from her. "You said you found something," I reply, not in the mood for pleasantries. Sarah nods, sliding a folder across the table to me. "I did some digging into Emma's finances, her activities over the past year. There's something you need to see." I open the folder and start flipping through the documents inside. Bank statements, credit card records, and then, towards the back, a series of photographs. They're grainy, taken from a distance, but the subjects are clear: Emma and Ethan, meeting at a hotel, entering together, leaving hours later. "What is this?" I ask, my voice dangerously calm. "It's exactly what it looks like," Sarah says, her tone matter-of-fact. "They've been meeting up regularly, mostly at this hotel. The first photo was taken about 6 months after your accident." I stare at the photos, my mind reeling. The betrayal is deeper than I thought, more calculated. They didn't just fall into each other's arms out of grief, they made a conscious decision to carry on, even while I was lying in that hospital bed. "And there's more," Sarah continues, flipping to another page in the folder. "I found this in Emma's financial records. It's a large withdrawal, taken out in cash, right around the time you were admitted to the hospital." "What does that mean?" I ask, my eyes narrowing. Sarah hesitates before speaking. "It could mean a lot of things. But given the timing and the amount, it's suspicious. It's possible she was preparing for something, maybe even planning to leave before the accident happened. The implication is clear, and it hits me like a punch to the gut. Emma might have been planning to leave me even before the accident. The car crash could have been her out, a way to start fresh without me. I feel the world tilting on its axis, everything I thought I knew crumbling away. I came here looking for answers, but all I've found are more questions, more pain." "What do you want to do next?" Sarah asks, her voice steady, bringing me back to the present. I take a deep breath, trying to steady myself. I need more. I need to know everything. If she was planning to leave, I want to know where she was going, who she was going to meet. And I want to know why she stayed. Sarah nods, her expression one of quiet determination. "I'll keep digging. But Matt, you need to be prepared for what we might find. This could get a lot worse before it gets better." "I know," I say, my voice hard. "But I'm not stopping until I have the truth." We sit in silence for a moment, the weight of everything hanging between us. Finally, Sarah gathers her things and stands up. "I'll be in touch." I watch her leave, the reality of what I'm doing settling over me. I'm plunging deeper into the darkness, into a web of lies and deceit that I never imagined could exist in my life. But I can't turn back now. I need to see this through, no matter the cost. As I leave the cafe, I feel a strange sense of resolve, a certainty that I haven't felt in a long time. I'm going to uncover the truth, no matter what it takes. And when I do, they'll both pay for what they've done. I walk down the street, the cold wind biting at my skin, but I barely feel it. My mind is already racing, planning my next move. I need to get closer to Ethan, to Emma. I need to see them, to confront them on my terms, when they least expect it. And I know exactly how to do it. That evening, I call Ethan, my voice carefully controlled. "Hey, it's Matt. I've been thinking, maybe we should talk. Just the two of us." There's a pause on the other end of the line, and I can almost hear his hesitation. Yeah, sure. When?" "Tonight," I say, my tone leaving no room for argument. "Let's meet at the bar on 5th Street. You know the one." "Okay," Ethan agrees, though he sounds unsure. "I'll see you there." I hang up, a grim smile tugging at my lips. He thinks we're going to talk, maybe even reconcile. But what I'm planning is far from a friendly chat. I arrive at the bar early, choosing a table in the back where we won't be disturbed. The place is dimly lit, the low hum of conversation providing the perfect cover for what I have in mind. I order a drink, my hand steady as I lift the glass to my lips. Ethan arrives a few minutes later, his face tense as he scans the room. When he spots me, he gives a small, hesitant wave before making his way over. "Hey," he says, sitting down across from me. "I'm glad you called. I've been wanting to talk." "Me too," I reply, my voice even. "There's a lot we need to discuss." Ethan nods, his eyes flickering with a mix of guilt and relief. "Yeah, there is. I know things have been messed up, and I want to make things right. I want to be honest with you." "Honest," I repeat, the word tasting bitter on my tongue. "That's a good start." He looks down at the table, fidgeting with his drink. "I know I hurt you, Matt. I know what I did was wrong. But I need you to understand, it wasn't just about Emma. It was about us, too." I raise an eyebrow, not expecting this turn. "What do you mean?" Ethan takes a deep breath, as if steeling himself. "We've always been close, but after the accident. I don't know, it felt like you were slipping away, even before it happened. Like you were pulling back from everyone, including me." I stare at him, trying to process his words. Is this his excuse? That I somehow drove him to betray me? "I don't know what you're talking about," I say, my voice colder than I intend. "Come on, Matt," he says, his voice almost pleading. "You were changing. You were more distant, more focused on work, on everything but the people who cared about you. I didn't want to admit it, but I felt like I was losing my brother." His words hit me like a sucker punch. I don't know if he's telling the truth or just trying to justify his actions, but either way, it feels like he's twisting the knife even deeper. "Even if that's true," I say, my voice shaking with anger, "that doesn't justify what you did. You should have talked to me, not gone behind my back with my wife." "I know," Ethan says, his eyes filled with regret. "I know I messed up. But I didn't know how to fix it. And then you were gone, and everything just spiraled out of control." We sit in silence, the weight of everything hanging between us. Finally, Ethan looks up at me, his expression desperate. "I'm sorry, Matt. I wish I could take it all back, but I can't. All I can do is ask for your forgiveness." I meet his gaze, my mind racing. This is the moment I've been waiting for, the moment I've been planning for. I could forgive him, let it all go, try to rebuild the relationship we once had. Or I could follow through on the plan that's been forming in my mind since the moment I woke up. I take a deep breath, the decision crystallizing in my mind. "I'm not ready to forgive you, Ethan. Not yet. But I'm willing to listen, to try and understand. Maybe we can start there." Ethan nods, his eyes filled with a glimmer of hope. "I'd like that." I finish my drink, a cold, calculated smile forming on my lips. The game has only just begun, and I'm playing for keeps. The tension is palpable as Ethan and I leave the bar. The night air is cool, a stark contrast to the simmering anger I feel just beneath the surface. Ethan walks beside me, hands shoved deep into his pockets, his gaze fixed on the ground. He thinks we're making progress, that this tentative truce is a step toward reconciliation. But he has no idea what's coming. I've spent the last few days gathering everything I could: texts, emails, bank statements. Jake and Sarah have been invaluable, pulling together a dossier that paints a damning picture of Emma and Ethan's betrayal. But there's still one piece missing, one final confrontation that I need before I can close this chapter of my life for good. We stop at the corner, the streetlights casting long shadows on the pavement. Ethan turns to me, his expression uncertain. So, what now? Now, I say, my voice steady, we go see Emma. Ethan's eyes widen, surprise and a hint of fear flickering across his face. Tonight? Are you sure that's a good idea? Maybe we should wait, give it some time. No, I interrupt, my tone leaving no room for debate. We do this now. I need answers, Ethan, and I need them tonight. He hesitates but then nods, resigned. All right. Let's do it. We make our way to the apartment that Emma and I once shared, the place that used to be filled with warmth and laughter. Now, it feels like a stranger's home, a place where I no longer belong. I unlock the door and step inside, the familiar scent of her perfume hitting me like a punch to the gut. Emma is sitting on the couch, her eyes red from crying, but she quickly stands when she sees us. Matt, Ethan, what's going on? I don't answer her question. Instead, I pull out the folder I've been carrying and toss it onto the coffee table. We need to talk, Emma. All three of us. She glances at Ethan, then back at me, fear and confusion in her eyes. What is this? Just open it, I say, my voice cold and detached. Emma hesitates, but finally, she picks up the folder and starts flipping through the pages. Her face pales as she realizes what she's looking at: photos, emails, financial records. Evidence of her betrayal, laid out in black and white. I can explain, she starts, but I cut her off. Explain what, Emma? That you've been lying to me for months. That you and Ethan were planning to run off together before I even had the accident. Ethan's head snaps up, his eyes wide. What? Emma, what is he talking about? Emma's gaze flickers between us, her composure crumbling. Matt, it's not like that. I wasn't going to leave you. I was scared, okay? Everything was falling apart, and I didn't know what to do. So you turned to my brother, I say, my voice filled with bitterness. You let him into our life, into our home, while I was lying in a hospital bed. I didn't mean for it to happen, she pleads, tears streaming down her face. It just did. I was lost, and Ethan was there. Ethan looks like he's been struck. You told me you loved me, Emma. You said we were in this together. Emma's face crumples, and she shakes her head. I did love you, Ethan. I still do. But Matt is my husband. I thought he was gone, and I was trying to move on, but now that he's back, Don't, I say sharply, my anger boiling over. Don't try to play both sides. You made your choice, Emma, and now you have to live with it. The room falls into a heavy silence, the weight of the truth pressing down on all of us. Emma collapses onto the couch, her sobs filling the room, while Ethan just stands there, looking lost and betrayed. I want to feel satisfied, vindicated, but all I feel is an empty, hollow ache where my heart used to be. The people I loved most in the world have torn my life apart, and there's no going back from this. I didn't want it to end this way, I say, my voice breaking. But you both left me with no choice. Ethan steps forward, his eyes pleading. Matt, I'm sorry. I know I messed up, but we can fix this. We're family. I shake my head, a bitter laugh escaping my lips. Family? You destroyed our family, Ethan. You and Emma both. There's nothing left to fix. Emma looks up at me, her face streaked with tears. Please, Matt. I never meant to hurt you. I didn't know what to do without you. I meet her gaze, the woman I once loved, now a stranger to me. You made your choice, Emma. And now I'm making mine. I turn to leave, but Ethan grabs my arm, his grip tight. Matt, don't do this. Don't walk away. We can figure this out together. I yank my arm free, my eyes burning with a mixture of anger and pain. I'm done figuring things out. I'm done with both of you. Ethan looks like he wants to argue, to say something that will fix everything, but I can see the truth settling in his eyes. He knows this is the end. I'm filing for divorce, I say, my voice cold and final. And as for you, Ethan, I don't ever want to see you again. Ethan flinches, but he doesn't argue. He knows he's lost me, lost everything we once had. I walk out of the apartment, the door closing behind me with a heavy thud. The night air is cool against my skin, but I barely feel it. I'm numb, my mind a whirlwind of emotions I can't even begin to untangle. As I walk down the street, I realize that the life I once had is gone, shattered beyond repair. There's no going back, no fixing what's been broken. But maybe, just maybe, I can find a way to move forward. I pull out my phone and dial Sarah's number. She answers on the second ring. It's done, I say, my voice hollow. Are you okay? She asks, her tone gentle. No, I admit, the weight of everything crashing down on me. But I will be. We talk for a few more minutes, her voice a steady presence in the chaos of my thoughts. When we hang up, I feel a strange sense of relief, like a burden has been lifted off my shoulders. The truth is out, the deception revealed, and now there's nothing left but to pick up the pieces and start over. As I walk into the night, I know that the road ahead won't be easy. The wounds are deep, and the scars will take time to heal. But for the first time in a long time, I feel a glimmer of hope. I've faced the truth, confronted the people who hurt me most, and now I'm free to rebuild my life on my terms. The past is behind me, and though it's left me battered and bruised, it's also given me a strength I didn't know I had. And with that strength, I will move forward, one step at a time, until the pain is a distant memory and the future is mine to shape.